Look at Bangladesh on a map, and your eye slides right past it. A small green wedge tucked between India and the Bay of Bengal, a piece of land about the size of New York State. Now add the people. By 2024, more than 173 million people live here, more than half the population of the United States, standing together on that one small wedge. Then add the water. Roughly 8 out of every 10 acres of this country sit on active river floodplain, and much of it lies barely above the sea. In an ordinary year, the rivers spill across about half the nation. In a bad year, more than 70% of Bangladesh goes under. That is not a catastrophe here. That is a season. Somewhere in the middle of all this, in a city that has repeatedly ranked the most densely packed on Earth, lives a woman named Sitara. When reporters met her, she was 60 years old, living in a slum called Karyal, because 30 years earlier, a river had swallowed her house and her farmland whole, and she had walked out of the drowning countryside and into the capital. Her story is not unusual. In Bangladesh, it is very nearly the national story. So here's the question that should stop you cold. Why would 173 million people build their lives on a floodplain? Why plant and build and rebuild on land the water claims every single year? The answer is not stubbornness, and it is not bad luck. The answer is written into the water itself. And to read it, you have to leave the map behind and climb all the way up to where the rivers are born. Rise above South Asia, and you can see the machine that made this country. To the north, the wall of the Himalaya. Draining off that wall is a river basin that sprawls across roughly 1.7 million square kilometers and 5 countries. Nearly all of that water has exactly one exit. A catchment around 14 times larger than Bangladesh empties itself through Bangladesh. The Ganges swings in from the west, the Brahmaputra plunges down from the north, the Meghna gathers up the east, and every summer, the sky joins in. The monsoon delivers about 50 inches of rain a year in the west, and roughly 200 in the northeast, and the rain arrives in the very months the swollen rivers do. Water from above meets water from upstream, and the whole delta fills at once. But the rivers carry more than water. Every year, they haul down an almost unimaginable load of Himalayan silt, by most estimates, somewhere around 1 billion tons of it. Over roughly 10,000 years, that silt settled out, layer upon layer, and built what geologists widely describe as the largest river delta on Earth. That delta is Bangladesh, a country so flat it barely registers as land at all. Its highest point, a remote hill on the Myanmar border, is the lone exception on an otherwise table-flat map. Bangladeshis often say their country holds 700 rivers. The true number shifts with the seasons, which tells you everything. This is not land that happens to flood. This is land that exists because it floods. The flood is the delivery system. That changes the question entirely. People understood the bargain long before satellites could photograph it. For centuries, rulers based in Dhaka pushed the farming frontier east into the wet delta, granting land to pioneers on a simple condition: clear the forest, gather the labor, and plant rice in the water. Village by village, flooded wilderness became farmland. Even so, by some accounts, when British rule began, only about half of what is now Bangladesh had been settled at all. And from the 1750s onward, colonial administrators leased out ever more of it, pushing the paddies deeper into the tidal fringe. The bargain was always the same. The floods bring the silt feeds the rice feeds the people. And the water gives twice, because these drowned fields double as one of the great inland fisheries on Earth. For generations, fish supplied most of the animal protein this nation ate. Then, in the last half-century, the bargain went into overdrive. After independence, high-yield seeds, fertilizer, and dry-season irrigation roughly tripled the rice harvest. Farmers stopped taking one crop from a field and began taking 2, sometimes 3, from the same mud in the same year. They had little choice. The farmland per person was collapsing.
shrinking by the late 2010s to roughly a quarter of what it had been in the early 1960s. Now watch what the bargain built. In 1950, this country held about 41 million people, roughly 317 on every square kilometer. By 2024, more than 173 million, over 1,300 per square kilometer, among the densest nations on the planet. The floodplain did not simply tolerate all these people, the floodplain produced them. But the bargain has a price, and the rivers collected every single year.
Follow the Brahmaputra south, and you can watch the price being paid. The great rivers of Bangladesh do not stay in their beds. They wander, devouring one bank while raising new land on the other. Every year, erosion eats roughly 10,000 hectares, and close to 1 million people feel it directly. Out in the channels, the rivers pile up temporary islands called chars, bare silver-gray platforms of fresh sediment. Because land is scarce, people are waiting for them. Millions live on the chars, plowing fields that did not exist a decade ago and may not exist a decade from now. On one Brahmaputra char lives a woman named Suki Begum, 70 years old. In 50 years, the river has taken her home 7 times. 7 times she has rebuilt on whatever new ground the river offered. This is the bargain at its rawest. Fertile land, free to claim, on loan from a river that can call it back. Char life comes with char arithmetic. Barely 1 household in 10 has a closed latrine, against more than 8 in 10 nationally. Stomach disease runs at nearly 3 times the mainland rate. A hospital can be a day away by boat. Yet even here, the instinct is to adapt, not abandon. When the monsoon shuts down some 4,000 schools on land, schools that float take over. An idea launched in 1998 with $500. Now 56 boats reaching close to 160,000 people a year.
Nowhere is that instinct clearer than the Northeast, where the land dips into a bowl of wetlands called howers. Every monsoon they fill, not flood, fill like a bathtub, until entire districts merge into one inland sea. In one vast hour called Tongwar, 46 villages spend the wet season as islands, earthen mounds, with boats standing for every road. Then comes the reveal. Around November, the sea simply drains away. It leaves behind silt-charged land, and onto it goes one enormous rice crop, harvested before the water returns. Roughly 1 Bangladeshi in 8 lives in Howar country, farming the floor of a vanishing sea. Bangladesh does have high ground. The Chittagong Hill Tracts rise in the southeast, the one region that never drowns, and it is nearly empty, around 140 people per square kilometer, in a nation averaging more than 1,300. Given the choice, Bangladeshis have overwhelmingly chosen the water, because the water is where the food is. But the choice has a dark edge, and it sharpens south, where the delta flattens into the Bay of Bengal. The largest island, Bola, carries nearly 2 million people. Its highest ground stands about 6 feet above the sea. Up north, the water rises on a schedule. Down here, it can arrive in a single night, as a wall.
The Bay of Bengal is shaped like a funnel, and the funnel ends at Bangladesh. It breeds only a small share of the world's tropical cyclones, yet it has accounted for the overwhelming majority of the world's cyclone deaths, because its shallow, narrowing shape stacks storm surge onto a coast that barely rises above the tide. In November 1970, that geometry produced the deadliest tropical cyclone in recorded history. The Bola cyclone pushed a surge of up to 10.4 meters, around 35 feet of ocean, across the flat islands of the delta, at night. The official count was 225,000 dead. Independent estimates run from 300,000 to 500,000. In one town, Tazumuddin, nearly half the population died. Some of the dead had been lured there by safety itself. Levees raised a few years earlier had drawn settlers onto newly protected land. When the surge overtopped them, thousands of those newcomers died. The government's response was so slow, so cold, that fury fed a rebellion. Within months, Bangladesh declared its independence through a war that drove some 10 million refugees into India. Then the new nation set out to engineer the death out of the storm. Thousands of kilometers of coastal embankment, more than 100 polders sheltering millions, raised concrete shelters, warning networks, evacuation drills. In 1991, a storm stronger than Bola struck the same coast and killed far fewer, around 140,000. By the late 2000s, a comparable cyclone claimed a few thousand lives, and in 2017, one storm's toll was counted not in thousands, but in single digits. But embankments protect people, not land. The sea still pushes salt into the wells, and the rivers still swallow the fields. And so the people of the water began to walk.
Every river in Bangladesh bends toward the sea, but the people bend toward Dhaka. Remember Sitara? The river took her farm, and Coriol is where she landed, a slum where the poor pay more per square foot than tenants in some of the city's comfortable middle-class neighborhoods. Scarcity does that. Around 2,000 people arrive in this city's slums every single day, and by one estimate, roughly 70% of them are moving because of water, erosion, flood, salt, storm. Stack up enough of those days, and you get a city that has repeatedly ranked as the most densely populated on Earth, peaking at over 47,000 people on a single square kilometer. So, why does Bangladesh cram 173 million people onto one floodplain? Because the floodplain was never the obstacle. It is the reason. The rivers built the land. The floods fed the soil. The soil grew the rice, and the rice grew the people. And now the same water is redrawing the map, pressing the children of the Delta into one roaring city, while the nation drafts plans a full century ahead to hold its ground. The water gave Bangladesh everything it has. It never once promised to let anyone keep it. Seen from above, that is not a crowded map. That is a bargain, still being paid, one monsoon at a time. This is AerialEarth, the world explained from above.